Hey guys! So today I will be showing you my AP exam study routine. If you are familiar with AP exams, which stand for Advanced Placement Exams, they are exams taken the first 2 weeks of May, and I have 4 that I'm currently preparing for. I elected not to take 1 or 2 of them, and I think that I just wanted to focus my attention on a couple. And so since it is nearing the end of April, I'm really in full swing to prepare for these exams, and the best way for me to do that is to, first of all, complete all of the homework that I've been assigned. So I got home on this day at around 5:30 from volunteering and stuff after school, and so the first thing I did was take out this practice packet of AP multiple choice questions for my AP BC Calculus class. My teacher actually assigns us AP prep as our homework, which is so useful for me because I can do both my homework that's assigned as well as preparing for the exam in one. And so I did both the multiple choice packet as well as this free response question that I was also assigned. And doing these is just so helpful to prepare for the exam because you can really understand the format of how you'll be asked certain things on the test. And when I'm done with that, I always look for the answers online. My teacher completely encourages us to do this just because we end up getting quizzed on these sorts of questions, and he wants us to really make sure we're as best prepared as we can be for those quizzes. And since these are actual AP released tests, both the multiple choice and the free response, all of the answers are on the College Board website as well as solutions on other places as well. That makes it just really easy for me to make sure I know exactly what I need to work on and what I need to study for the future. So I definitely always be sure to check my answers for that. Then next, I took a break for about 5 minutes, and then I started my AP Literature homework again. My teacher assigned us some essays to do, and that's also in the format of the AP exam that I'll be taking for literature. And so we get the prompt, and I just spend some time mapping out my thoughts and ideas and trying to get a basic framework for my essay. Normally, if you've seen, my study with me's or week in my lives in the past, you've seen me write essays out by hand, and that's how I'm supposed to be doing it in the AP exam itself. However, this time my teacher wanted us to turn it in online via turnitin.com, and so that's why I'm typing it. I am timing myself, and so I gave myself a time limit of 40 minutes. This is the type of prompt that just asks for a general essay from any book that you have read in your literature class, and so the prompt is pretty short and general, and I don't have to refer to a specific literary source or poem like the other 2 essays require. But again, getting this sort of practice is really, really helpful, and I really appreciate that my teachers make their best effort to give us homework and assignments that are directly from the AP sources, and that just really helps with our preparation for those exams. After I finish that essay, I go ahead and check back to my bullet journal spread, and I take out my Muji .38 black ballpoint pen or gel ink ballpoint pen, and I just cross off all of the things I've completed since I last checked my bullet journal. And doing this just allows me to feel satisfied with my progress and look forward to what I need to do afterwards. Next, I decide to continue with my literature homework just to get it all out of the way, and I have to sort of research 3 literary periods, and that just helps with our understanding of historical context and be able to group different genres of the books and poems that we have read throughout the year, and be able to sort of group them together and understand how they're connected, and the sort of themes that they all cover, the sort of characteristics you should look for. And that also helps when we are reading through the multiple choice sections of the AP literature exam, which has different excerpts and poems that are from all sorts of historical eras, and that just allows us to have more context. And I decided to divide this up between a group of 3 of my friends, and I'm the 4th, so that way I didn't we each didn't have to do all of them. And again, this is something my teacher encourages just because they understand we have so much work to do in all of our classes that have the AP exams in May. Next, I decide to sort of take a break from my assigned homework and I get out the Barron's AP Government Review book. And having an AP preparation book is, I think, really, really vital to prepare for these exams. I find them really, really helpful. This is my third and final year of taking AP exams, so I can say I'm pretty experienced with that. And I'd say that the brand of review book definitely varies in terms of which is the best per subject. I decided to get the Barron's because I do like the format and I do appreciate how it's all laid out, and I have really wide margins to either write in and annotate in or, put little post-it notes down to bookmark different ideas and concepts that I need to review. And again, I've talked about this concept so many times on this channel if you've been subscribed for a while, but I'm a big advocator of actively reading instead of passive reading. And what I mean by that is just interacting with the text. I always make sure that if I'm reading a book like this that I can write in, I don't simply scan over the text with my eyes and move on, or just highlight things and move on. I make sure that I'm using different colors, in this case 2 shades of yellow, just to make sure that I'm differentiating the different types of information I'm highlighting. And I also make sure I'm always making notes of things that I find are the most important while I read, as well as concepts that I don't quite remember from the beginning of the year and I need to practice. And so I find that just doing this for every single chapter is super vital for me. I also find at the end of each chapter, the little review quizzes are incredibly helpful because they directly test your understanding of the concept you already read, and it also just allows you to see how much you really know beyond just looking at the information. And so I always make sure I take those and check my answers as well. Throughout the weeks leading up to exams, I will do this in most of the classes that I have an exam to prepare for, and I just sort of rotate through which class or subject I focus on, so that way I'm not just overwhelming myself with one subject and I'm able to get to them all and I don't have to cram or anything like that. At this point, it was getting pretty late, so I took a quick break for dinner, and that took about 45 minutes, and I just relaxed on my phone for a couple of minutes as well. And then I started doing my AP Government homework. If you've seen my AP Gov study with me, you've definitely seen me use this little vocab journal before, where I write the term or vocab word or person on the left side of the notebook, and on the right side I have the definition and example or significance of that term. Right now I'm doing comparative government, so this is the unit on Nigeria, and I have my laptop open with my textbook online, as well as some Quizlet definitions that I can use to refer back to and add more detail. Once I'm finished with that, I again take out my bullet journal and I cross off the items that I have completed, and for the most part it looks like I've done almost everything that I planned on doing, but I just decided to keep doing a little bit extra. Since today I was focusing on AP Government, since I did that Barron's review book, I decided to do a practice multiple choice section. Just like for calculus, I had this one, which is a released test and is very similar to the format that I will be facing in a couple weeks. As I go through this packet, I have this yellow Muji marker next to me, so that way I mark anything with a yellow square that I feel like I either don't remember the concept very clearly, or I just really have no idea what I'm doing on that particular question. And that serves a really good purpose for me because I'm able to see compared to which questions I get wrong, because I can sort of go through and decipher whether or not I am using like correct like test taking strategies of like process of elimination, if I just completely got the wrong answer or I was really close in debating between two. And so I always make sure I try to do that as I go through packets like these, and I try to underline like important key points in the question as well. It's always just really good to have habits like this that just makes it really easy for you to go through tricky multiple choice questions like this. In most AP subjects that I have dealt with, a lot of the questions can be a little bit ambiguous, and sometimes there's more than one like correct answer, but you're really looking for the best answer for that question, and so that can sometimes be pretty difficult. So if you guys have any tips on how you go through multiple choice tests like this, definitely comment down below to help anyone else who struggles with that. If you do process of elimination as well, or you just mark things to go back on, because that's what I typically do. But after I finish with this multiple choice section, I actually ended up only doing half of it instead of the entire thing in one sitting because I was really tired. I went ahead, I flipped back to the start of the packet, got out a red Muji pen, and went through and marked all of the answers that I got incorrect. And I think that if you don't check your answers for things like this, it's almost completely useless for you to be doing exercises like this, because I think the most important part is being able to reflect on what you did not get right and learn from those mistakes so that mistake doesn't come back to haunt you when you're actually taking the exam for real. And so after I do that, I decide to get out this Rhodia notepad. And by the way, these notepads have the best paper ever for writing. They're just really smooth and really, really enjoyable to write on. So after that, I get my packet out alongside my notepad, and I just write down all of the questions I either marked with a yellow square, whether or not I got it right, just to reinforce that concept, or I just got it wrong, like with the red X. And so I just write down the main term or concept that is involved with that question. So, for example, it could be like federal district courts, and then I put a colon and write out the correct answer to that question and just kind of make a point to myself to write this out. And I'm starting to do that for every single time that I am taking a quiz for government, so that way I can keep track of anything that I may have slipped up on or just didn't solidify in my long-term memory. And that way, when I go to study again, maybe in a couple days, I will first look through this notepad, read it out loud to myself, or just read it in my head silently, and I'll be able to just reinforce the things that I didn't remember previously, because it doesn't make sense to study the concepts, ideas, and vocabulary that you are already comfortable with or you already know really well, and instead you should work on spending time on the sort of concepts, ideas, and vocab that you aren't familiar with, don't remember, or are getting wrong on tests or quizzes. And so that's really the best thing that I find helps for really any subject that I'm taking an exam in. And so I'm just really packing up all my stuff for the night. I usually try to go to sleep early. If you've seen my how to be a morning person video, I try my best to have really good sleep habits during the school year and in the summer. But since I'm nearing exam time, I tend to stay up as late as I need to complete my homework and also study in addition to that. And so I really just try my best to finish quickly so I can sleep, but I do stay up later to get my work done. Be sure to check out my previous video if you enjoyed this one. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and also check out my Snapchat, Instagram, and Tumblr accounts. Bye guys!